Atenção na raia 4 e na raia 5. Vem Paulo André Camilo junto com Asinga e Issamade. Vem para fechar a primeira colocação, atleta do Suriname.
The sprinting world has just been turned upside down. An 18-year-old named Issamade Issam Asinga has done something no one thought possible. He ran faster than Usain Bolt. For years, Bolt's 9.58 record was untouchable, the ultimate mark of human speed. But now, a teenager's unbelievable run has left fans, experts, and even fellow athletes in total disbelief. At just 18 years old, Issam Asinga ran the 100 meters in a jaw-dropping 9.89 seconds, breaking the World U20 record and drawing instant comparisons to the greatest sprinters of all time. Faster than Bolt at the same age, quicker than Lyles in his teens, he was suddenly the next big thing, a phenomenon who shattered expectations and raised eyebrows across the athletics world. But this fairy tale didn't last. Just 10 days before his record-breaking run at the South American Athletics Championships in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Asinga had undergone an out-of-competition drug test. The test came back positive for GW1516, a banned substance known to boost endurance by altering how the body uses fat for energy. Less than 2 weeks later, as the world was celebrating his record, the Athletics Integrity Unit, AIU, issued a provisional suspension. The fall from grace was swift and brutal. On May 6, 2024, the World Athletics Disciplinary Tribunal handed Asinga a 4-year ban. His 9.89-second run was annulled, his world record stripped. The title of fastest U20 sprinter returned to Letsile Tebogo, whose 9.91 seconds now stands as the record. The news stunned fans. How could a teenager who had seemingly come out of nowhere, who was being hailed as the future of sprinting, be caught up in a doping scandal so soon? Born in Atlanta, Georgia in 2004, Asinga holds dual citizenship with the United States and Suriname. His father, Tommy Asinga, was a track athlete for Suriname, while his mother, Ngozi Mwanamwambwa, competed for Zambia. At age 9, Issam moved to Lusaka, Zambia with his mother, and spent 4 years there before returning to the U.S. He attended Montverde Academy in Florida and made waves as a high school sprinter. By 2023, he had been named the Gatorade Florida Boys Track and Field Player of the Year. That same year, he committed to Texas A&M University, signing a national letter of intent to compete on scholarship. Asinga began representing Suriname internationally in May 2023, and within months, he stunned the athletics world. In addition to his record 100-meter time, he also clocked an astonishing 19.97 in the 200 meters in Austin, Texas. These performances weren't just good, they were elite. Then came the positive drug test. Asinga and his team claimed innocence. They argued that the banned substance, GW1516, entered his system through Gatorade recovery gummies he consumed after being named Gatorade National Boys Track and Field Player of the Year. They insisted the product was contaminated and filed a lawsuit against Gatorade. The Athletics Integrity Unit wasn't convinced. A comprehensive investigation followed. The Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS, reviewed the evidence and ultimately sided against Asinga. After considering the evidence, the KS panel found that the athlete had failed to establish that, on the balance of probabilities, it was more likely than not that the gummies he ingested before his anti-doping test were contaminated with GW1516, the ruling stated. The verdict was clear. Asinga would serve a 4-year ban, disqualified from all results since July 18, 2023. That includes his 100-meter World U20 record. His suspension is set to expire in August 2027. For many, the most heartbreaking aspect of Asinga's story is its potential. On paper, he was already eclipsing legends. At just 18, he had better times than Bolt and Lyles at the same age. He was poised to become the face of sprinting's next generation. The 9.89-second run was not only historic, it was symbolic. It suggested that the impossible could still be rewritten. And yet the scandal has clouded everything. The sport of track and field has long battled with doping issues. From Ben Johnson to Marion Jones, the narrative is sadly familiar. Meteoric rise followed by devastating fall. Asinga's case, however, hits differently because of how young he is and how quickly he was thrust into the spotlight. Some supporters continue to back him, arguing that he may have unknowingly ingested a tainted supplement. Others believe that athletes at the elite level must be held to the highest standards of responsibility, regardless of age or intent. Meanwhile, the backlash has extended beyond athletics. In 2024, Asinga filed a lawsuit against Gatorade, claiming their recovery gummies were to blame for the contamination. But in April 2025, a U.S. district judge dismissed the case due to lack of sufficient evidence. What's left is a complicated legacy. Is Issam Asinga the next sprinting prodigy derailed by scandal, or is he a young athlete caught in a nightmare beyond his control? His personal bests remain a testament to his speed: 9.89 seconds for 100 meters, 19.97 seconds in the 200 meters, a 60-meter indoor time of 6.57. These aren't the stats of a promising sprinter, they're the benchmarks of an elite one. The numbers scream talent. The controversy screams doubt. As of mid-2025, Asinga is still appealing the CAS decision, hoping to reduce or overturn his ban. But even if successful, the stain of the violation and the annulled record may follow him for the rest of his career. There's also the broader context to consider. Asinga's rise came during a time when sprinting was hungry for a new star. With Bolt retired and Lyles struggling to break the 9.60 barrier, the track world was waiting for the next phenom. Asinga filled that role, however briefly. His sudden ascent mirrored Bolt's early explosion onto the scene. But unlike Bolt, who built a dynasty on consistency and clean competition, Asinga's ascent was marred before it truly began. It's a cautionary tale, especially for young athletes navigating the pressures of success, sponsorships, and expectations. The jump from high school star to international sensation is massive. For Asinga, that leap came with more attention and scrutiny than he may have ever imagined. Despite the setback, Asinga is still only 20 years old. If his appeal fails and he serves the full suspension, he will return at 23, still young enough to rebuild, still fast enough to compete. But whether he will ever regain the public's trust is another matter entirely. The lesson here extends beyond the track. It speaks to the fragile line between triumph and tragedy in elite sport. One moment, a teenager is being compared to Bolt. The next, his name is stripped from the record books. If there's any hope for redemption, it lies in Asinga's response. How he trains, how he speaks, how he carries himself in the face of adversity. Whether he doubles down on proving his innocence or uses the next few years to reflect, reset, and come back stronger. In the meantime, conversations around doping controls, supplement regulation, and athlete education have been reignited. Asinga's case is already being cited in coaching circles and sports media as an example of how critical it is for athletes to vet everything they put in their bodies. The line between performance support and unintentional violation can be alarmingly thin. The track world will be watching, because whether you believe in his innocence or not, Issam Asinga is a name no one will forget. The 18-year-old who ran faster than Usain Bolt, on paper at least, and then watched it all disappear. It's a shocking fall. But it's not necessarily the end. Not yet.
Thompson's in the driving seat here, but watch Seville on the near side. It's ever so close. Seville from Thompson. Lyles at last is beaten.
The sprinting world just witnessed a power shift. Under the lights of Tokyo, Seville didn't just win, he dominated the competition. Fans expected a battle, but what they got was pure destruction. Under the humid lights of Tokyo's National Stadium, Seville delivered a performance for the ages. The 24-year-old Jamaican sprinted to gold in the men's 100-meter final at the 2025 World Championships, leaving Noah Lyles and the rest of the field chasing shadows. It wasn't just a win, it was Jamaica's sprinting supremacy reborn. Since Usain Bolt's departure in 2017, no Jamaican male had stood atop the global podium in the 100 meters. For nearly a decade, American sprinters had claimed every world title in that event. Noah Lyles, the 2023 world champion and 2024 Olympic gold medalist, was expected to continue that streak. But Tokyo 2025 had other plans. Seville clocked a personal best of 9.77 seconds to win gold, while his countryman Keishane Thompson followed closely at 9.82 for silver. Lyles, despite a season's best 9.89, had to settle for bronze. The sight of a Jamaican 1-2 finish with Lyles trailing, sent shockwaves through the stadium and the world. Seville's rise has been anything but smooth. He narrowly missed out on medals in 2022 and 2023, finishing fourth each time. At the 2024 Paris Olympics, he ran the fastest semi-final time, but finished last in the final after injuring his hamstring. Budapest 2023 was especially painful. He ran 9.88 in the final, identical to the silver and bronze medalists, but was placed fourth based on thousandths of a second. But something changed in 2025, starting with a blistering 9.82 at the Racers Grand Prix in Kingston, where he beat Lyles head-to-head. Seville began to rewrite his narrative. He followed it with wins at Diamond League meets in London and Lausanne, both over Lyles, setting the tone for a potential upset in Tokyo. Despite a shaky start in Tokyo's opening round, where his 9.93 was only good enough for third in his heat, Seville regained form in the semifinals with a commanding 9.86. Meanwhile, Thompson and Lyles looked sharp too, Thompson clocking 9.85 and tying with Kenny Bednarek, and Lyles at 9.89. The atmosphere inside Tokyo's National Stadium was electric. The heat and humidity had turned it into a steam room, but the crowd's anticipation cut through the haze. Usain Bolt, the greatest sprinter of all time, was in the stands. Before the race, he had boldly predicted that the Jamaican duo would go 1-2. There's no reason they shouldn't be 1-2 because they're the top fastest times in the world this year, Bolt said. It's just about going out there and executing. I'm very confident they can get it done. As the athletes lined up, Noah Lyles raised his arms and roared like a prizefighter entering the ring. Beside him, Thompson bounced with excitement, but Seville stood calm, stone-faced, focused, waiting. At the gun, Thompson blasted out with his trademark lightning start, looking like a lock for gold by the halfway mark. Lyles, chasing hard, began to build his top-end speed, but Seville's stride never wavered. He didn't panic. Instead, in the final 30 meters, the portion he once struggled with, he surged. Seville overtook Thompson in the last 5 meters, and Lyles had no answer. He crossed the line in 9.77 seconds, a personal best, the fastest time in the world that year, and a stunning statement of intent. I learned from my mistake last year, Seville said afterward, referencing his Olympic final disappointment. This year I said, okay, this is my year, and I'm going to take this moment, and no one is going to take it away from me. The moment was his. I want to see Bolt, to have a word with him because he has told the world that I am going to be the champion, Seville told media. But everyone ignores what he said. Now I have proven, even in front of him, that I am the champion. Seville became the first Jamaican man since Bolt in 2015 to win the 100-meter world title. It was a moment more than 10 years in the making. And the symbolic weight of doing it in front of Bolt, while being coached by Glenn Mills, the very coach who sculpted Bolt's career, was enormous. It was a pleasure to have Usain watching me, Seville said. His coach is my coach, and I know that both of them are very proud of me right now. They were telling me I was going to be the world champion, and I have proved in front of him that I am. Lyles, who came in as a favorite despite a late-season ankle injury, accepted his bronze with perspective. It was a short season with injury, not a lot of races under my belt, he said. But hey, every time I showed up here, I was running faster and better than I ever have. I was very excited with the things that I saw today. He later added, even in the final, I was able to run my season's best, and I will never be disappointed with that. Thompson, meanwhile, remained upbeat. The 24-year-old, who had gone undefeated all season and ran 9.75 earlier in the year, knew what he was up against. I'm not really concerned about the time, it was more of the execution, he said. Nevertheless, I finished injury-free, I got a medal, I'm grateful. About the final surge, he added with a grin, I wanted to win. But when it came to the last 5 meters, I saw oblique was moving, and then I was like, oh indeed. Seville stood atop the podium, Thompson beside him in silver, and Lyles rounding it out in bronze, marking a massive shift in sprinting momentum. Ajayi's 6th-place finish was historic. He became the first Nigerian man in 18 years to make a 100-meter final. The University of Auburn athlete ran a personal best 9.88 in the semis and 10.00 in the final, cementing himself as a rising star. But the night belonged to Seville. His victory had been years in the making. From early days at Calabar High School to international finals filled with frustration, he had waited, worked, and now he delivered. For Paris, I got injured in the final and I fell short, but I learned from my mistake, he explained. I have proved that I am a true competitor, that I have the determination of a champion. But still, I was panicking. Finishing strong in the last 30 to 40 meters was something I was struggling with the whole season. He added, but now I have perfected it. And I was confident that if I could do it in the final, I would win. Track and field is both mental and physical, but to be honest, I think I have mastered the mental part of it. This shift in mindset is what made the difference. Seville had always possessed speed, but now he had composure. His race was not just about pace, it was about poise. With this win, Seville joined the ranks of Jamaican sprinting royalty. From Donald Quarry and Asafa Powell to Johan Blake and Usain Bolt, Jamaica has a new sprint king. And he's only just getting started. He'll be back for the 200 meters. He'll anchor the 4x100 meters. And with every race, Seville isn't just challenging competitors, he's rewriting a legacy. Noah Lyles will have his shot at redemption in the 200-meter final, where he'll attempt to tie Bolt's record of 4 straight world titles. But in the 100 meters, the crown has changed hands. Oblique Seville didn't just win, he destroyed. And the gold is home.
Yeah.
My start is equivalent. It's very fast, and then my finish is equivalent to Noah Lyles' finish, so he's not going to catch me.
Oblique Seville just sent a powerful message to the sprinting world, and Noah Lyles is right in the middle of it. The Jamaican star isn't holding back anymore, making it clear that this rivalry goes far beyond speed. It's personal. It's about pride, redemption, and proving who truly owns the track. With his latest comments, Seville has turned up the heat on one of the most intense battles in modern sprinting. For years, fans have debated who would rise as the next sprint king after Usain Bolt's retirement in 2017. Noah Lyles made a strong case with his dominance in the 200 meters and his explosive gold medal win in the 100 meters at the Paris 2024 Olympics. But just a year later, at the 2025 World Championships in Tokyo, it was Oblique Seville who flipped the script and then dropped the mic.
Thompson's in the driving seat here, but watch Seville on the near side. It's ever so close. Seville from Thompson. Lyles at last.
In the biggest race of the year, Seville scorched the track with a personal best of 9.77 seconds to claim the gold in the men's 100 meters. Noah Lyles, the reigning Olympic champion, had to settle for bronze, finishing in 9.89. And Seville didn't just win. He made sure the world knew it was no fluke. In a post-race interview with Coach's Deck TV, Seville was asked about the growing rivalry with Lyles. His response was cold and calculated. Noah Lyles is going too hard to beat me. If you check the analysis of the race, my start is very fast, and then my finish is the equivalent to Noah Lyles' finish, so he's not going to catch me. I analyze myself as an athlete, I don't study other athletes, but I know about this sport. That's the kind of talk we haven't heard since the Bolt era, and coming from a sprinter who's been quietly grinding in the shadows for years, it hit hard. Rewind to just a year earlier. At the 2024 Paris Olympics, Lyles was the one standing atop the podium after running a blazing 9.79 seconds. Seville, meanwhile, faded to 8th place with a time of 9.91. Afterward, Lyles took a subtle jab, saying Seville was panicking in the back during the heats. At that point, the gap between them seemed clear. But Seville remembered, and he was plotting his revenge. Fast forward to Tokyo. Seville had a shaky start in the heats, barely qualifying for the semifinals, but when it mattered most, he locked in. In the semifinals, he silenced critics by running a confident 9.86, putting a finger to his lips as if to say, "Sush, I am back." And when the finals came, he exploded. 9.77, gold. A new world-leading time. After the race, Seville opened up about his motivation. When I saw what Lyles said, I was like, damn, Jesus Christ, I want him to be in my semifinals. I was praying for it. I was praying to get his semifinals because I was just going to show him something. I like the rivalry. You know that I like it. That's not just competition, it's personal. And while Seville was basking in the glow of his first global 100-meter title, Lyles remained gracious. He took to X to post, "I got nothing but the joy of the Lord in my heart. It has been a very challenging year. Being able to give my all on the race that meant the most is all I can ask for." Lyles